John Garcia's column, and today on Dr. John, we're here with a gentleman who has a problem with women, at least on stage. On Broadway, he was with a woman who was older,
yes,
who fell in love with him, but somehow buries monkeys in the back. Then, in regional theater, he tried to tame a shrew. He was in love as a gambler with a woman who was a mission doll. And now, on the tour around the country, he's in love with a woman, but he was in love with her in another show as the same character. And now he's in a sequel in the same character. They're both being chased by a man who wears a mask and has a little slight face problem that Kim Kardashian makeup cannot fix. So you wonder, what is wrong with this guy? Well, we're going to talk to him today on Dr. John to see what the hell is wrong with him. But instead, we're here with Thompson. Hi, Sean.
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for the intro.
Welcome to Dallas.
Oh, thank you very much.
Have you ever been here before?
I was here for one night in April.
Oh.
It sounds like the title of a new book of mine. One Night in April, the Dallas story. But yeah, this is my first time staying here for an extended period of time.
Oh, welcome. I know it's very cool here today, so. You know.
I'm told I brought a cold front in. Yeah.
It is. So we actually have, which I found out as I was investigating, research on your life. We actually have a couple of mutual friends, Tim Hughes and Natasha Diaz.
Oh, Natasha Diaz, what a sweetheart.
She's doing Passion right
She's doing Passionate Signature, yeah.
And of course, Tim is Frozen. I did.
Yes, of course.
Now, beginning with you, I think outside of the hardcore, faithful Andrew Lloyd Webber fans, the general theater public is only familiar, of course, with the first Phantom, which, of course, is Paris fan with the opera and so forth, and the romantic Raoul, and the fatherless Christine. What did you prepare as an actor regarding the characterization to mold the new version of Raoul?
Oh, yeah. First, I started with just my general fascination with Phantom of the Opera. I've loved it since I was, I think, 12 or so, maybe even younger. I remember in 6th grade, my English teacher handed me the album in class one day and said, I think you'll like this. And I took it home and listened to the whole thing and read the liner notes for the entire night. Fell in love with it. So since then, I've really been obsessed with it. I ended up bartending it on Broadway when I first moved to New York. Oh. So I've probably seen it. I've definitely seen it over 100 times, you know, between the tour coming through Philly when I was a kid and then working it in New York. So I drew on that, first of all, just my passion for the piece. I knew those characters pretty well just from watching it so often and listening to it even more often. Because what happens in Love Never Dies, without giving too much away, of course, in the second act, Raoul decides that he needs to get his act together a little bit and try and win Christine back. Because, of course, we know the Phantom returns and is throwing a cog into the machine of his marriage. So what does Raoul do? Well, the costume designer gives me the same tux that Raoul wears in the original. So to me, that's an act of choice. He's going like, okay, I can be that guy from 10 years ago for her. I'm going to put this tux on, I'm going to comb my hair, I'm going to straighten up. Of course, because in Love Never Dies, Raoul is a drunk and a gambler, a bad husband and a bad father. And that's what you get at the top of the show. That's what the script gives you. So I sort of started backwards and I went to the end of the show knowing where I had to go, which was 10 years ago, Raoul, basically. And then I just peppered in the things that Love Never Dies gave me from there. So I decided to look at how Raoul identified himself in the original. He's the knight in shining armor. He's the hero. He saves Christine from the Phantom. Because the Phantom of the Opera is a melodramatic piece, you have the hero, you have the villain, and you have the damsel in distress who they were fighting over, right? But I thought, how did Raoul identify himself in the original? And it was through money. He's a vicomte, which is French for count, you know, and basically just means his family has a lot of money, and that was his position in society. What did he do? He used his money to patronize an opera. He's an opera fan and decided to throw money at it for fun. So now in Love Never Dies, I realized that he has no money left. He's gambled it all away, we're told. He's drank it all away, we're told in the script. And so for me, that means Raoul does not know who he is. He no longer has the money to rely on in terms of defining his own personality. So I kind of start there, and I think like, well, how would I feel if something that I believed in so much was ripped away from me? Which for me is, I can substitute that by thinking about how I feel about theater and the arts. That's my lifeblood. That's my passion. What if it was ripped away? How would I feel? And then I start the show, and you can come and see how angry and sad and despondent I am at the top, which I think is how Raoul feels as well.
I think it's really interesting that it goes on a different path instead of staying to the same as in the first one.
Definitely. I think Love Never Dies takes these characters everybody knows and loves and deepens them and shows that 10 years of life can cause strife. These people have gone through 10 years of pain and suffering. Like everybody in the world, they're flawed human beings. Like I said, the original, not so much. I mean, Raoul's not flawed in the original. He might be a little pompous or arrogant because he has money and is an aristocrat. But in this, you see a human who's flawed, and I think people are relating to that. And Meg is much different from the original. Madame Giry is much different from the original. And I hesitate to say different. I think it's just more fleshed out is the word I would use.
Yes, I like that. I like that. It gives it a different, more of shade than the original.
Yeah, a little more psychology is involved. Like, why are these people so messed up? It's up to us to figure that out,
I like that. It gives you more reason to come back to see a total different story.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just to see, we're going to come to the same thing, but in a different light.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a challenge for the audience. I'm sure they go like, wait, that's not Raoul. Why is he not dashing and helping Christine escape and all this? Why is he the villain? Question mark? But that's cool, and what a challenge to then choose to be the Raoul from 10 years ago.
That's what you want. That's what you want in theater. You want it to be challenging.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Life is challenging.
Amen. In his subtext, the same as it was in the original, not the original actor, but the art per se. Are you reconstructing from the ground up, new to the audiences to discover him new?
How do you mean? Discover Raoul anew?
A new man?
Well, I think I needed to root him in what I already knew about him because that's how audiences are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people would come see Love Never Dies having not seen The Phantom of the Opera. In fact, I might say, who hasn't seen The Phantom of the Opera? Whether it's the movie or if you're from, Manila, there's a production there. If you're from Hungary, there's a production there. So you have seen The Phantom of the Opera if you come and see Love Never Dies. So I assume that, and I assume that you're expecting the knight in shining armor. So to me, it's not a new guy at all. It's definitely rooted in that same guy from the original. And like I said, just 10 years of life have warped him and dinged his armor, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
How long were you guys in rehearsal?
We rehearsed in New York for 6 weeks, I guess, something like that. And then previewed in Utica, New York for 2 weeks. We teched there and did 3 preview performances. Then we did a week of previews in Baltimore when we were still rehearsing, a week in Detroit, still rehearsing, and then finally opened on October 25th.
That included tech.
Tech and previews and rehearsals. Yeah, definitely.
My job, I've only seen the DVD that was done in London.
Australia.
Australia.
Yeah.
So just looking at it, tech must have been.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And this is sort of a redacted version of the Australian production because it had to tour. It's touring with 11 tractor trailers as it is, which is big for a show. Some have 3. We've got 11. So, yeah, tech was pretty insane. What's amazing about the tech on the show is that it's all man-powered for the most part. And we have 3 pieces that are computer generated. Otherwise, it's people behind the set pushing and pulling it around. And you can actually see that when you're watching the show, which was the point. It's set in 1907 in a theater, so they wanted to give the feel of the real old-timey, old-school stagehands and all. But when you see the show, or if you've seen the DVD, you see the set is massive.
Mm-hmm.
And to have real people pushing and pulling it, including cast members who are not trained in that, yes, tech's going to take a long time. So I think all in all, we probably had about a month of tech,
Wow.
Yeah.
So did Andrew Lloyd Webber work with you privately, or with the principals privately on?
Yeah, he came to Detroit during our last week of rehearsals /tech/previews. And yeah, he just sort of would pull each of us aside and throw a little nugget of wisdom at us. Or I remember the last preview he saw, he came and he loved it. And he was talking to us all afterwards, taking pictures on the stage and stuff. And he kind of, at one point, pulled me aside and said, just know that blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay. I heard it from the man himself. I know exactly what to do now. Yeah, no, he was amazing with that. And what I will say about Andrew is, I expected him when I met him in my final callback for the show. Well, I actually met him when I was doing Sunset Boulevard, but on this show, when I was working with him, I expected him to stick to the music and talk about rhythms and pitches and notes and all those kind of things that you would expect a brilliant composer to talk to you about. And not once did he mention anything about the music. He actually was very concerned about the storytelling and the acting and the character development. So to him, he's very involved in the entire story, the entire show, and how it gets told, which I thought was really cool. Because that's what you, as an actor, that's what you want. You don't want to nitpick all the time. You don't want to nitpick rhythms and notes. You know you have to sing what's on the page and respect what the composer wrote. But you want to talk about how you tell the story. And that's what he likes to talk about. It was really refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you meet him when you were doing Sunset Boulevard?
Yeah, I met him. Okay, let me think. There was. So I was in the ensemble of Sunset, and I covered Joe Gillis. Yeah, and the day he was there, I was on in my ensemble track, which means my dressing room was all the way up on the 6th floor, the top floor of dressing rooms at the Palace Theater. And I was coming down the very narrow staircase, and he was kind of standing right in the middle of the staircase talking to Fred Johansson, who played Max, and I couldn't get by. So I'm kind of just waiting for them to finish their conversation. I was like, what do I do here? Do I say, excuse me? So of course, awkwardly, I just inserted myself in the conversation and said like, hi, it's great to meet you, oh my God. Trying to be cool and collected, but I probably wasn't. But then at our closing night party of Sunset, he was there. And my final callback for Love Never Dies was the next morning. So I was like, I have to go up and talk to him. I'm going to see him tomorrow anyway. It would be weird if I didn't go up and say hello, and I had a Manhattan in my hand. I love Manhattans. Feel free to send them. Backstage. And I had a Manhattan, and I said, hi, Lord. Nice to see you again. I'm just drinking this one Manhattan and then going home because I have my final callback with you tomorrow. And he was like, well, aren't you coming in for Raoul? I said, yes. He's like, well, then drink a few more Manhattans. Stay and drink some more if you want to get in character. So I did. It worked. And here I am. So I guess it was okay.
You have the really unique, which is rare for actors. You have the unique opportunity to open this musical on a national tour because it's only been done out of the United States. Right. It hasn't reached Broadway. Mm-hmm. And how do you feel as an actor? Because it's a dream to do this.
It's an absolute dream, and I think in a few years I'll look back and go like, wow, I can't believe that happened. Being in it is one thing, but to look back at it and appreciate it, it's like you wish you could appreciate it in the moment for what it is. But you got to work hard and do your thing in the moment, right? I would say what an opportunity. It was clear from the beginning that the team wanted us to create our own performances and not, in commercial musical theater, it happens that you're just sort of plugged in to a track and you're told to put your right hand 2 inches up here and you have to put your hand on your hip or whatever, you know what I mean? And in fact, on this level, that's happened to me for sure, where you're sort of just told what to do. But not with Simon Phillips and Gavin Mitford, our director and associate director, just awesome guys who encouraged us to do our own thing, which was so freeing to have 6 weeks of rehearsal too, to just play and come up with things and develop the relationships, with the actual people I'm playing across and not some version of the original that was passed down through different people, So I'm playing opposite Megan Pacherno, and it's Megan Pacherno's Christine that informs how I react to her, not her reinterpretation of whatever the first person did. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. So that's amazing. And what a gift from Simon Phillips to be able to do that. Yeah.
That's just when they announced that the season they're doing this, it was like, what? It was like,
it's been people have been waiting for it for what 10 years
10
now,
years.
something like that. Yeah,
Because it was supposed to go like from London to
Mhm.
Australia, and then it was supposed to come straight to Broadway, and then how it ended up on tour, and then
it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it shows you how much Andrew really cares about this show. He is so passionate about it. And when it didn't do well in London, or as well as I guess he had thought it could have, I have no idea what it was like in London, so I don't know why it didn't do what he wanted it to do. But it's clear that how much he cares about it. He said, okay, I'm going to rework it. And he did. And it's completely different from what I hear from fans who've seen it in London and seen it in Australia and then seen it here. This is completely different from Australia, which was way different from London, because he's constantly rewriting and reworking it, which is, again, such a gift to have. I mean, we have Andrew Lloyd Webber constantly working on this, and it's a living, breathing piece of this. It's not just some revival of something that was done a long time ago.
And again, going that same path, you again have the second opportunity, because I saw the original production of Sunset Boulevard twice.
Wow.
I saw it with Betty Buckley.
Oh, amazing.
And I saw it with your friend, Karen Mason.
You did? Wow.
And
lucky.
I mean, the original, of course, with the manager coming down, but I tried so hard to see it with you guys, with Glenn, with it being stripped down. But I had friends who saw it, and they're like, they just loved it.
Well, that's Lonnie Price, the director.
Mhm.
What an amazing visionary he is. He just was like, we don't need all the stuff. Let's tell the story, And Glenn, of course, and Glenn would say, this is nothing like her Norma from 23 years ago.
That's right.
This is a new me. I'm 23 years older now. I've lived 23 years of life, so that informs how I interpret this role now. And of course, she didn't have the giant set to swallow her up or anything. Not that Glenn Close could ever be swallowed. But this was a very vulnerable and fragile performance, and what a masterclass to be able to stand there every night. I mean, I was 4 feet away from her every night when she sang As If We Never Said Goodbye. I mean, I didn't go to grad school, and now I did, because that was it. Yeah, I have my MFA in Glenn Close.
Go on.
Yeah, I got thrown on opposite her a month after we opened. My first time on was a 2-show day, and I got called in the morning so at the end, Joe gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows the movie, right? Sunset Boulevard, not ruining anything. Plus, we're not selling Sunset Boulevard right now. Anyway, and in our production, he got shot and fell into the pit, which was the pool of Norma's mansion. And I'd never done it. So they called me in, just seeing if you want to go over this today at 10:30. Just come on in and see how you feel about it. And I worked with the fight choreographer and did it 4 or 5 times. And after the 5th time, I came up from falling again, and the stage manager was like, so you ready to go on today? I was like, sure, let's do it. Which was amazing. And then talk about a masterclass. Just little tiny nuggets of wisdom that Glenn would throw my way, and I mean, invaluable training,
Out of the entire show, what would you say is your favorite moment?
The Love Never Dies. Yeah.
Would you say with the internal, that's the moment on stage where you go, that's where I feel so connected?
Yeah. Well, the bar scene, which is the top of Act 2, is awesome to do because it starts very quietly. Raoul's just alone in a bar with his thoughts. And for the first time in Love Never Dies, but also in the Phantom of the Opera, so first time in the Phantom world, that you get to see inside Raoul and hear his thoughts and hear what makes him tick. Because like I've said, in Love Never Dies, he's not the nicest person in the world. He's got a lot of problems he's working through. And the opportunity to be able to go in, sift through it, and explain myself a little bit is so awesome. So that's called Why Does She Love Me? And then Mary Michael Patterson, who plays Meg, she comes in. We have this little scene together. And I think for me, that's probably my favorite moment because, first of all, Mary Michael is so great and so gracious and such a giving actor to work with. Something clicks for me as Raoul then, too, which goes off in my head like, I need to do something about this. I need to not let the Phantom win. He controls all these people, but he's not going to control me, and he's not going to take my wife from me. So that's where I kind of decide to change my ways, and so it's the turning point that I think is really fun to play.
I definitely look to see that tonight. I'll be here.
Come tonight?
Yeah,
Great.
oh, yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
So the way we end every segment of the column for interviews, which I'm sure you either enjoy or you're going to go, oh dear God, why did I do this?
Love it.
We do this, it's called the 5 questions like Bravo's, the Actor Studio.
Okay.
But it's kind of like Will Ferrell after a few cocktails, but we don't have any, so we hope you enjoy this. Some people do, some people don't. We'll go with it.
Okay, let's give it.
Question 1. Weber has written the sequel to Cats called Hairball. What will be the name of your cat?
The name of my cat, I would say Lazy Pants. If I was a cat, I'd love to just lay in the sun all day and hang out. Lazy Pants.
Now, you were in Sunset Boulevard.
Uh-huh.
Where would you bury the monkey?
Where would I bury the monkey? I'd probably cremate the monkey and have him stay with me. If I loved him as much as Norma did, I'd keep him right with me in my bedroom. I'm surprised Norma doesn't do that.
I know. It's a pretty movie.
Rewrite.
Now, Tyler Donahue
Uh-huh.
is a native Dallas-Fort Worth person.
Yeah.
Told you I was going to bring you up. You knew that. What would you say that he has a habit that drives the cast crazy?
Oh, Tyler's so sweet and nice. Maybe that's it. He's too nice. He's too sweet. He's too nice. No, that's not it. I don't know. I can't say.
Let me show you the video.
Okay. Ooh.
Question 4. Patti LuPone is at a performance of Love Never Dies.
Okay.
She's in the front row.
Okay.
Her cell phone goes off during your solo.
Oh.
What do you
do? Okay. I would say there is a little plane of existence that actors have where you could be fully in the show but also communicate under the radar. And I think Patty would be in tune with that, probably. I think any actors that are watching know what I'm talking about, without the audience knowing what was going on. So I think it would just be like a... just a slight eye to be able... You know what? I will tell you the truth, too. There was a performance recently of Love Never Dies, not in Dallas, where someone was on their phone. I could see their face during my song at the top of that, too. So I sang the whole song right to them. Took the whole thing right to them, like... I can see you. I'm not gonna lie. Don't use your phones in the theater. We can see you. We're live breathing humans. It's not a movie.
It happens when I was walking.
Yeah. Usually the ushers are on top of it.
I don't want to do that. I said it. You either get it or you won't get it, so we can edit this.
Okay.
Favorite line. Vanjie or back rolls?
Ooh. Vanjie, did you say?
Uh-huh.
Or back rolls? Favorite line, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Oh.
Wait, explain.
From RuPaul's Drag Race?
Oh! I know. I'm a bad gay.
We tried. We tried.
You need to take my card away.
That's okay.
My castmates can tell you they have parties to watch the episodes every week. I should probably join them, I guess.
Okay. So we'll edit that one, replace it with name the first 4 colors in the song Joseph the Dreamcoat. It was
red and yellow and green and brown, scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and fawn.
You saved yourself for that.
I've done it twice.
Okay, you saved me for that one. Well, if you want to follow Sean on Instagram, his Instagram is right here.
If you want.
Oh, please
Don't
do.
feel compelled.
He's got great stuff. He's got great stuff on why. It's very, very funny. And very, I support it.
Oh, I love that.
I followed it right 2 months ago.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And very supportive.
Oh, thanks.
Very touching.
Oh, thank you.
So do follow him on Instagram. We'll put it up here again. Also, tonight is opening night here at the Dallas Summer Musicals of Love Never Dies. Ooh, we have decor. It runs here through August 5th. Here is where you can get tickets. Get them now. This is a world premiere here in the United States of this incredible musical that will tour the country. Now, it will go immediately from here because I want to go to downtown, to Dallas. Well, hold on. It also goes at the Bass Performance Hall. So right after it does its finish here on August 5th, it goes straight to Bass Performance Hall. Well, you can get your tickets there. Here is where you can get your tickets at Bass Performance Hall. And you can meet Sean here at the stage door afterwards or at the Bass Performance Hall. Sean, thank you so much for spending time with us. It was a great meeting you.
Great to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Break a leg, break a mask, and you're at Phantom.
Break a whiskey glass?
Or Manhattan.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.